Hello and welcome. This is Matthias76. Together, we are decoding the deception. We are starting here today with an article from Dr. Mercola. You can find Dr. Mercola's website out on my helpful websites page. But the title of this article, and it's good information in the article, and I agree with a large part of it, but how to turn the tables on tyrants waging economic war. You saw the thumbnail for this video. My position is this. It's not a position that I choose to have. It's not a position of my liking. It is rather a position that comes from an honest assessment, best as I can, of the situation, what we see playing out in the world. They always intended to burn it to the ground. And what I mean by always is, since the beginning of the modern era, things have been moving. They have been set on a course heading in this direction. Now, that doesn't mean that all the players, even big players, knew where it was going. But trust me on this, those who are now the big players, those who are now the powers that be, but should not, they know exactly where they are taking this. Our stock markets around the world are in a perilous position, an untenable position, meaning they cannot continue on the way they have, and that is by design. They are going to collapse. They are held up by central bankers' actions and policies. They have grown immensely through that easy money policy that cannot be maintained. Therefore, since that easy money policy has to stop, the markets cannot continue. It is the underpinning, that easy money, just printing of dollars coming from the central banks. It's going to come to an end. It has to come to an end, and they intend to use it to bring things to an end. One of the points in this article, I like the story at a glance feature at the beginning of Dr. Mercola's articles, and I'll read this. As bad as the economic trend appears, that's not all we have to contend with. Financial crisis historian Adam Tooze, not sure how to pronounce that, predicts several crises may converge over the next 6 to 18 months, including food crises, energy crises, pandemic outbreaks, stagflation, a Eurozone sovereign debt crisis, and potential nuclear war. They've put all of these things in place. And let's go here. If I, just for myself, could go back in time and pull my grandfather forward, my grandfather who was a self-made businessman, who understood markets, who understood how things worked and understood politics. If I could very quickly show him all of the policies that have been in place for the last, let's just say 30 years, but especially the last 20 years, he would say they had to know this was going to crash. They had to know that this was going to end in a cataclysmic meltdown of the markets. And that is true. These people who are doing these things, we can point at Janet Yellen. We can point at Jerome Powell. You can point at the European central bankers, that gal who's the head of the International Monetary Fund. They know these things aren't sustainable. They know it cannot continue on. It has been done with the express purpose, for the express purpose of bringing about a collapse. And how convenient it is that the World Economic Forum has come forth just over the past few years with their idea of a great reset. The World Economic Forum, who has schooled, tutored, brought together, and shaped young minds of mush, such as Bezos, Gates, Macron, on and on and on, the list goes. The World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, in order to accomplish their goals, everything has to be crushed so that out of the rubble, they can build the world, reshape it, remold it closer to their heart's desire. It's what they need to do. It's what they are going to do. And I like Dr. Mercola. I like his take on things, but thinking that anything can be done about this is overly optimistic, even about what to do after they have crashed everything. They do not intend, nor will they tolerate anyone living off the grid, their system of control. Go read Agenda 21. Go read Agenda 2030, that wonderful blueprint for a sustainable future. And all sustainable means is they get to decide if it's used, how it's used, and by whom it is used. All of these things. The Internet of Things, that everything will be connected, that Amazon now has all of these ways to reach into your home, Google, Apple, on and on. It is all about control, them switching, and a switch has occurred. We haven't realized it yet, really. They talk about it all the time, but we haven't seen the ramifications of this change. We have changed from a monetary-based economy to an energy-based economy. It's why they are always talking about carbon credits. If they control energy, then they control the world. All the environmentalists didn't really think about that. All the people running out and buying their electric vehicles in a world that can't supply enough electricity for its current needs, they didn't think about that. That's all a sidetrack to get us all away from having our own means of transportation. How much of your liberty comes from your ability to go where you want, when you want, how you want? They intend to take that away, and they will. They intend to take what you know as normal, what you know as our world's economic system, and just like the thumbnail for this video, they're going to burn it to the ground. They're going to destroy everything you think of as normal as regards money and economics. They are, and this is biblical, they are going to kill the great prostitute. What's he talking about? Let's go look. This is from Revelation 17. I've been working my way through the book of Revelations. I am a theologian. I've been working our way through the book of Revelation, putting out studies. I think we're up to 46, 47 videos on Revelation now, just Bible study, working our way through. But I wanted to pull this in to this video about burning it to the ground, because what is transpiring, what is unfolding before your eyes, this fourth industrial revolution, in which they're going to change everything, requires the present system to end. And here's what it says in Revelation 17. And this is talking about the great prostitute. And I don't have time to go through all of it. The great prostitute riding on the beast, which is the beast system. The great prostitute drunk on the blood of the saints with a cup of her abominations. It is the world economic system as we know it and understand it today. And we want to think, no, my economic system isn't about gluttony and overindulgence and sexual perversion. Just go out on Amazon Prime, Netflix, and see what the offerings are there for you to watch. What is it about? We want to think we're not part of that. We live in it. We swim in that ocean. It is the economic system, all about greed, avarice, lust, the desire for more. And then with that, inevitably, the perversion, the corrupting of all values, including values about human sexuality and the family. All of those things are melting down, coming apart like a Salvador Dali clock, melting in front of us, and we don't even see it because we live in it. We swim in that ocean. But that system, God himself says, is going to come to an end here at the very end. And this is at the very end in the book of Revelation. And the 10 horns that you saw on that 7-headed beast, they and the beast will hate the prostitute, that economic system. They will make her desolate and naked and devour her flesh and burn her up with fire. For God has put it in their hearts to carry out his purpose by being of one mind and handing over their power to the beast until the words of God are fulfilled. God is judging the beast, this corrupt, wicked, awful, evil system in which we exist. He is judging it, and he's using the powers of this world. Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, Joe Biden, Jerome Powell. The list can go on. He is using them, those rulers of this world, Klaus Schwab, to do that, to bring it about. And in the next chapter, in chapter 18, and I encourage you, shocker, a pastor and a theologian is telling you, go read the Bible. It's a really good idea. You really should. But in verse 4 of the next chapter, also about the destruction of the great prostitute, the consequences of that. And isn't the fact that she's a prostitute? What's a prostitute? It is those vile, nasty things that we shouldn't like, but we do, that appeal to us, that corrupt us. In the 18th chapter, we've got all these different groups moaning and bewailing that the economic system has collapsed, that it's all gone. We all got rich off of her, and now she's dead and gone. That's Klaus Schwab's world. But listen to chapter 18, verse 4. Then I heard another voice from heaven, a message from God, come out of her, my people, lest you take part in her sins, lest you share in her plagues. For her sins are heaped high as heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. God himself is calling us to come out of this corrupt beast system. And so we need to, as much as is possible, we got to pay bills, we got to work, all of those things. We can be in the world, but not of the world. John tells us in 1 John 2:15 through 17, do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and the pride of life, doesn't that sound like the great prostitute? Is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away along with its desires, the death of the great prostitute. But whoever does the will of God abides forever. I can live through the death of the great prostitute and not be destroyed by it. My value, my worth, who I am, what I am about, is not to be tied to this world, but rather it's all about my faith, my standing in God's eyes, the love and grace and mercy that he has for me. So, this system, rising interest rates, England raising interest rates, and then right around flipping around and going the other direction as soon as the consequences came to be seen. The gold markets going insane. All of these things are artificially propped up through mechanisms that would take me a while to explain. I'll just give you one quick one. The gold markets, and I'm going to pop a story up here from Zero Hedge. And I have talked about this before. This is from Zero Hedge. This is Comex. That's where they trade gold. Comex weekly gold deliveries just blew past 30-year trend lines. And there's the chart. You have to understand, all of the gold and silver that are traded, it's leveraged hundreds of times over. It's all paper. It's all paper. They have been allowed for some time to trade paper as though it is gold. And to you and to me and to my grandfather, who we have in our imaginations dragged forward for our discussion, we're blown away by the fact that they're allowed to trade paper, futures contracts of gold as though it is gold. And what's happening now? People are taking delivery of the gold. They're pulling the gold out, and that entire system will, because of that, collapse. That's one of those many different crises that are going to come and converge together, and it is all by design. I do not want to come across as though I am someone who has no hope, because nothing could be farther from the truth. I have great hope. My hope is not in this world. My hope is not in our government. My hope is not in the economy and some financial future. My hope is founded solidly in the one who came, who lived, who died, and rose again to free us from our sin. He is my Lord. He's your Lord. He is my Savior. He is your Savior. In Him, we place our hope. In Him, we place our confidence. I hope this video has been a blessing to you. If so, I'm going to ask you to do a few different things. Number one, go down below, give us a thumbs up. That's easy, doesn't cost you anything except 1 second of your time. Secondly, I'm going to ask you to pray for this ministry. Pray that God would continue to bless this work, to give me wisdom as far as what to teach, and to bless that word as it goes out to others. And you all are helping with that by sharing these videos with others. But I'm going to ask you also, support this ministry. There's a link in the description below. There's a place on our website right there, financial support. You can contribute to support this ministry, and you doing that makes a big difference. Invite you, subscribe to this channel. That's down at the bottom of this video. You can subscribe, and when you subscribe to this video channel, Decoding the Deception, make sure and hit the notification bell so that you're made aware when we put out new content. And as I said before, share this video with somebody else, and do stop by, drop in, and pay us a visit at decodingthedeception.com. This is Matthias 76. Together, we are decoding the deception. God bless, and have a great day.